a simple Excel report with service management. So this comes up quite frequently. Folks ask if we can export data or what we can do with Excel because of course everybody loves Excel. So I'm going to go through and show you a simple work order report, how to link the data in, and then if you need involved Excel reporting, then you'll have to find a different YouTube video. But I'll pull it out. We'll show you all the basics and kind of how to get to where you want to go. All right, so one of the first things you need to take a look at is here inside Service Management. You're going to go to View. You're going to go down here to Schema. There we are, Schema. This will show you all your data tables. And so if we're looking at a work order, for instance, we're going to come on down to the W's, hit the little plus sign next to work order. We'll go ahead and expand the little columns area. And what this is going to show you is every single field on that work order table. So most of the time, there's your work order number. The main thing to understand is when you get into call types and problem codes, that's not the name of a call type. It's a number referencing another table. And so when I walk through this little wizard and show you how to go pull the description off the call type, go pull the description off the problem code, it'll make a little more sense. But if you have any questions about, what this stuff is, again, you can email us and we're happy to answer some simple questions for you. But in any event, we're going to come over here to Excel. Now, all this is done with Microsoft Query, and it's a piece of Excel that's back in the old days, you had to ask for it to be installed. These days, it generally just installs on its own. So if you come over here to the Data tab, you're going to go to Other Data Sources and Microsoft Query. Now, again, the one we're going to hook to is the default that gets installed with your Timberline Sage 300 software. Okay, you can set up more than one. So if you've got multiple service management databases in your system, you'll probably need to set up multiple drivers in order for this to work real cleanly. But 90% of the folks are typically going to have one service management database. There is a nice knowledge base article from Sage on how to set up the additional drivers in here. But we go to the very bottom because again, it's all alphabetical, right? So there's your Timberline SM data. We're going to hit OK. There's all our database tables. I'm going to hit W just to jump down to the work order. So that's just your standard work order table. So we'll grab the work order number there. And in this case, if I want the description of the call type and the problem code, I don't want just the little database numbers there. I'm going to go back up to the top here. And again, we're looking for call type. So it's obviously a C here. So call type, hit the plus sign there, grab the description off the call type. And then we want the problem code description. Off we go to the P's here. Hopefully my alphabet doesn't fail me. Problems, get the description there. Come on back down to the work order. So as we scroll through here, you do have estimated repair hours, priority. There's a data dictionary that explains, what some of these internal numbers are, and I'll show that to you here in a minute. Agreement sequence. So if this is a PM work order or a work order linked to an agreement, that's the agreement it's linked to. Sequence. Your agreements obviously renew every year or every 2 years, whatever your system is set up to. That's just the renewal number, basically. So if an agreement is 5 years old, you're on sequence 5 generally. All right, so there's a center number. Again, it's a number. It's not the description of the center. So if you wanted that, you'd have to, go grab it off that table. There's the name. Generally, that's the name of the customer or the service site to be particular. There is a date entered on here and a time entered. We're going to go ahead and skip those. Pull the status in. In this case, that status is going to be a number. It's not going to say open, closed invoice. It's just going to be a number. Customer PO, if we want it, for instance. Come on down. This is where it starts to get a little more interesting, right? So the amount billed, the work order amount versus the amount billed. If it's an open work order, this is your estimated billing amount. It's what you're gonna bill typically. And then the amount billed obviously is what you actually billed. And then you have total cost. That was your standard cost. So that's not being updated by payroll. It's the standard labor cost that we've got in there. Comments if you want a little bit of a description. That work order type there, again, in the data dictionary it explains it, but basically it's the T&M versus a small job style work order. If it's a PM or not a PM. Let's see if there's anything else in here that would be fascinating. Estimated and actual cost. And again, more if you're doing a fixed price type of work order. Alternate work order number if we're in a database that uses that. Call date, call time. If you're using the integration to job cost, you can certainly pull that in. Department, the AR customer that you're billing it to, if you want, you can pull that in. Again, it's Excel, so it's obviously easy to do this over and over again, hide the columns you don't want. It is pretty forgiving there. Invoice date. Now, if you invoice a work order multiple times, it's just the most recent date, and the same thing with the date closed. If you've opened and closed and opened and closed and opened and closed, it's the most recent one from that point. Now, if we come and take a look at these, over here, you can use your little arrows to go up and down and change the order of all this stuff. So if you want the amount billed and those sorts of things on the bottom, you can hit them and knock them all the way down to the bottom, take the total cost, go all the way to the bottom, whatever. And I'm going to use those later just to plus minus and show the gross margin on it. So you can hit next. Now over here is where you have a chance to do some filters. Now, of course, once it's in Excel, you can filter all you want over there. But over here, if you wanted to filter on a status, you could say, hey, I just want the closed work orders. And so this is a good segue to look at a data dictionary. So if you did want to look at a data dictionary, Sage has them on their website. You can download them. But if I come to, say, page 99, there's my work order items. I'm going to scroll down here, work order standard task, parts, more standard tasks. We'll get to the work order eventually. There we are. So here's our statuses. So if you did want just the open ones, obviously that's a 0. Now, once you get this into Excel, if you want to write a little if formula or some other formula function, it'll drop in the English for you. But in this case, if I was looking at, I just wanted the closed work orders, that'd be the 3s, or the invoiced ones, which are the 8s. Now, generally, I don't typically push my customers to use the invoice status. We skip right into closed. But anyway, you kind of do it however you'd like. In this example, I'm just going to go ahead and bring everything through. So instead of staying status equal to 3, we're just going to go ahead and hit next. Sort by. You can obviously have it sort by work order number or AR customer, whatever you want. But of course, once it gets to Excel, you can do whatever you'd like there. So I'm going to say return the data to Excel. Hit finish. Tells me where I'm going to put it in A4. Hit OK. It'll cook for a second. Naturally, the bigger your database is, the longer that little sequence is going to take as far as pulling the data over. Now, the one thing to know is that you can't hurt your data with Excel. So if I take this and delete it all, if I come back up on the top, it's got this little refresh all button. And again, I'm in the design area now. Say refresh all. It will go back to your Sage database, your service database, pull it all back in and just update it, right? And so again, as your staff updates all day long and they're adding work orders and they're billing and closing stuff, if you hit refresh on your sheet, it's just going to go grab a fresh copy. So if you don't want a fresh copy, copy your data off to another sheet. So here I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to insert a column. We're just going to say, oh, that was the amount. So we'll come on over here. Didn't mean to do it there. All right, here we go. We'll go plus, minus, and it fills all that for you. And there's our gross margin. And then over here, of course, you can take your margin, divide it by the amount billed, get you a nice percentage. Naturally, it would help if you multiplied that by 100. So let's do that. Might be at the limit of my Excel skills here, but there we go. And then you can, of course, right click, format cells. We come over here to number. We can get that to 2 decimal places. And I'm division by 0 there, which of course doesn't work, but that's the hazard of using open work orders in this thing. But there you are. So at this point now, it's just Excel functions, right? Smallest to largest, largest to smallest, and filter on customers, filter on sites. And now it's just your typical Excel functions, right? So some of the things to keep in mind as you do this, it is just pulling the work orders over here, which if you're looking at agreement or preventive maintenance related work orders, it potentially is just the cost. If you're on a periodic billing system where service management just spits out an invoice once a year, once a quarter, once a month, but the invoice is unrelated directly to the work order, obviously you're missing all that revenue in this little example. So, but it's still a good example as far as pulling in, just all the work orders. There's your call type, there's your problem code. And then as far as Excel goes, again, YouTube is a great resource to figure out what formulas you want to put in here and draw graphs or any other fancy things you want to do. I'm not even going to try to cover or compete with what other folks are doing on here. But there you go. So I hope you learned something. Again, if you have any questions, give us a shout on email and we're happy to answer them. And that's it. Thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, or maybe better yet, learned something. If you have any questions or ideas for future videos, please drop us an email at the email address there on the screen, support@dsgtecharc.com. We are a full service consulting firm, generally working on service management, Sage Service Operations, Sage 300 and 100, and we do a significant amount of Crystal Reports work and personalized training. So we do have arrangements with the majority of the business partners in the United States. So if you need a hand with something, again, please drop us an email. We'll be happy to take care of you. Thank you.